Bit chilly for my liking, though.
You should go speak with Lord Gorin. You'll find him inside.
I'm on my way.
Here, sire, those I spoke of. Allow me to present a kinsman, Farin of Erebor, and also Andriel and Eradan, his companions. We succeeded in our task, and I live to tell of it, thanks only to their aid.
You are most welcome here, kinsman, and no less so your companions, be they man, elf, or eagle. Welcome all to Nordenbad, last hall of the Longbeards in the Grey Mountains. You have returned to me, my son and my oldest friend, whom already I mourned as lost. For this, you will forever have my gratitude and the hospitality of these halls. Know that this is not something lightly given, for never before have we allowed any but our own folk to pass these gates, and no eyes have gazed upon the hidden lake of Azanzaram, save those of our close kindred. Yet for what you have done, I will gladly lay aside our ancient oath of secrecy.
You are fellow Longbeards. Then we truly are kin. I didn't know any of our folks still dwelt in the Grey Mountains.
Aye. In centuries past, most of our kin called these mountains home. But then the dragons came from the far north. One by one, our halls were lost or abandoned. All but Nordenbad. We alone endured those dark times. And thanks to you, we may hope to endure our current troubles as well.
Tell me about this Nordenbad of yours.
My great-great-grandsire was the first to enter the caves of this mountain, where he discovered the hidden lake we call Azanzaram. He was awed by its beauty, and led some of his kin here. Slowly, over many long years, with loving hands and careful chisels, we created the halls you see before you. Nordenbad was never rich in gold or jewels, but its beauty would move even the most cold-hearted dwarf. That is why we have remained here for so long. There is not a dwarf among us who would not choose death over exile from our home.
I have beheld many an underground lake, but never one as large and beautiful as this. Is this the work of your kin?
Nay, my ancestors discovered Azanzaram even as you see it. We have worked with care to enhance what we found. A chip here, a tap there, fashioning bridges, halls, and tunnels. But always, we have taken care to preserve the great gift we were given.
It is indeed a marvel. I would these were peaceful times, so I might bide here for a while to see all your works and wonders.
May I ask how it was you happened to be in so unlikely a place as Mount Gundabad? One does not go lightly into so foul a pit.
We were seeking a servant of Mordor, a man called Agendaur.
Agendaur. We are familiar with that one. Curse his Blackheart.
He appeared before our gates some weeks past, and called us to parley, in the name of Sauron the Great, so he said.
What did the snake have to say?
He demanded that we yield ourselves up to the mercy of Sauron, as if there was any mercy in the Dark Lord.
He lays claim to Nordenbad, telling us if we turn over our halls and riches without a fight, our lives will be spared, and we will be free to seek a new home elsewhere.
Of course, we would have nothing of that. When we defied him, he grew wrathful, threatening us with the fiery doom that overtook our ancestors.
I doubt Agendaur is one to appreciate the beauty of Nordenbad. What's he after, do you think? Gold and jewels?
Nay, Nordenbad provides for our needs, but never have we considered it rich, save in beauty.
I fear he may have allied himself with the dragon Orgast who dwells in these parts. With such a beast at his command, we would have little hope of resisting him.
Dragons, curse them all. But could even Agendaur persuade a dragon to do his will?
Perhaps not on his own account, but if he speaks for the Dark Lord, even Orgast would think twice before offending him.
Nah, dragons are wicked creatures, and their greed knows no bounds. Agendaur only has to name the right price.
Perhaps the best course would be to destroy this dragon before Agendaur sends him against us.
Well, destroy Orgast? If only it were that simple. The attack on Gundabad would be a peaceful stroll around the lake in comparison. Nay, if it were so easy to slay dragons, there would be many more dwarves still dwelling in these mountains.
Orgast has never taken notice of us before. We rather hoped it would stay that way.
I have heard it said it does not pay to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near one.
And we cannot allow Agendaur to gain such a powerful ally.
Aye, better go after it before it comes after us. Where can we find Orgast?
You do not lack for courage, I will grant you. Yet we know not where the dragon dwells. No dwarf has discovered his lair and lived to tell of it.
Perhaps Radagast knows this secret, or can discover it. Seems there is little that happens in Wilderland that escapes his notice.
And who is Radagast?
Radagast the Brown. He is a wizard, a master of birds and beasts. He keeps to himself mostly, but he's a decent enough sort. As long as you mean no harm to the wild creatures he befriends.
He dwells within the forest of Mirkwood, away to the south. Perhaps your companion Belaram would know where to find him, for it is said that Radagast is a friend to the Lord of Eagles himself.
Then we should travel to Mirkwood. I am certain we will learn something of value speaking with Radagast.
Indeed. But before you set out, please accept a token of our gratitude. Seek out my steward Galar. I've instructed him to open our vaults to you. I believe you may find something within that will be of service in the days ahead.
Ah, there's a view that would move the heart of any dwarf. It's marvelous.
We would be honored if you would accept a token of our gratitude. Find my steward Galar. I have instructed him to present you with some of our finest work. Choose whatever you will, and may it serve you well.
You are fellow...
Aye. In centuries past, most of our kin called these mountains home. But then the dragons came from the far north. One by one, our halls were lost or abandoned. All but Nordenbad. We alone endured those dark times. And thanks to you, we may hope to endure our current troubles as well.
Thank you for your generosity, Lord Gorin.
I still can't believe I'm alive. I thought I would draw my last breath in the fetid air of Mount Gundabad. Mind you, I'm not complaining.
Your father, Gorin, does he claim the title of king?
King? Oh, no. He is merely the Lord of Nordenbad. We acknowledge Dane Ironfoot as the rightful king of the Longbeards. Not that he has any idea of our existence.
Someday, you'll be the Lord of Nordenbad. I hope you will re-establish ties with the rest of your kin when that day comes.
Secrecy has always preserved us here before, but it can't do so for much longer. We are a dwindling folk, and this war has only made that worse. Nordenbad is precious, but I see little point in leaving it empty. If we survive the days ahead, we will seek out our kin. My father sees the need for this as well. Were it not so, I wouldn't have dared bring you and your friends to our hidden halls.
Tell me a little bit about Bruni. Obviously, he's good in a fight since he survived Mount Gundabad.
Bruni's the captain of our guard, and a terror to the orcs of these mountains. He's been my father's best friend since long before I was born, and he taught me how to wield an axe, and what it means to serve.
I gather you've been in Mirkwood before?
I've been around it a lot more than in it, and that suits me just fine. I don't care for that wood. Don't know how anyone could. But I've often traveled to the eaves of the forest to trade with the Bjornings who live thereabout. It was on such a trading venture that I happened to meet Radagast.
I met a few of these Bjornings on my journey west. What do you know of them?
A hardy folk, and brave, as any who dwell between Mirkwood and the Misty Mountains would need to be. Under their chieftain, Grimbjorn, they've kept the mountain passes and river crossings open, even in these troubled times. But I've heard rumors of war on their borders of late. The high passes may now be closed, at least to those without the benefit of eagle wings.
Can you tell me more about Radagast?
He's an unusual sort. Friend to all beasts and birds. To be honest, I don't think he cares much for dwarves. But maybe he just prefers the company of animals. One thing's certain, there are few people with more knowledge of this part of the world. He even spoke of Nordenbad as if it were common knowledge.
What do you think of our chances against Urgost?
It's not that I doubt your courage and skill, and I'd be mighty glad to no longer have a dragon as a neighbor. But truthfully, I wonder if anyone can overcome such a beast. I just hope your luck proves equal to your daring.
What will you and your kin do now, Nordri?
I'm afraid we're all out of tricks to play. All we can do is prepare our defenses, hunker down and wait for whatever the winds of war might blow our way.
Good luck with whatever befalls. Farewell, kinsman.
So you're the stranger from Erebor. You look like a proper dwarf in spite of that, I guess. Now that you know we're here, I suppose we'll be overrun with distant ken coming to gawk at our lake. Are you here to buy something? I've an excellent stock of the best Nordenbad craftwork, so speak up. Time's a-wasting.
Your welcome leaves something to be desired, kinsman. Why the soured mood?
Well, let's see. We've got an orc army growing, a dragon hungry for dwarf snacks, and one of Sauron's lieutenants making threats. Pardon me while I break out in a song and dance. Now see here, I need to do some business. So how's about you buy something before I get downright grumpy?
See here, Goran himself sent me. He said to talk to his steward and choose something as a token of his gratitude.
Yes, yes. He may have mentioned it to me. It was rather too generous of him. Not that I don't appreciate what you did, but how does he expect me to increase our wealth by giving our best work away? Well, here you go. Take your pick. Are you here to buy something? Speak up. Time's a-wasting.
It must be hard to find trade goods when you're hidden away in this place.
We've had a rough time of it here, I won't deny it. Mostly we managed some trade with the Bjornings, the men who live down south of us in the vales of the Anduin. They've good use for our metalwork, and they bring us foodstuffs in return. Otherwise, there'd be mushrooms for breakfast, mushrooms for lunch, and mushrooms for dinner. You wouldn't believe how many ways we've learned to cook mushrooms. That's enough jabbering. If you're not going to buy something, let me get back to my work.
Fine stonework here. Very fine indeed. There are skilled artisans here, to be sure.
Ah, you must be Farin, our distant kin from the Lonely Mountain. Word of you has spread like a beard on fire. Well, this is a rare treat. I hope all your folk are such fierce warriors. The enemy will feel your blows for a long time to come. So, how can I help you today?
Keeping a place like this secret for so long, well, I can't help but wonder if you found something too valuable to speak of. Mithril, let's say?
Aye, we've no such wealth as mithril here. Not that I haven't dreamt of finding a vein of true silver. I work iron and a bit of ordinary silver or gold. A few gems here and there. Mostly we hide to escape the notice of the dragons. Bad blood between dwarves and dragons as well, you know. And then there's all the orcs. Ah, but I dream of a day when we could trade for finer goods. I've been working on a silver belt studded with crystal, with a special mount for the gem I crave above all others. The gem that comes from no mine.
Ha! I'd know that smell anywhere. You've singed your beard.
Well, hard to be a smith without getting a few sparks in your beard. What do you expect when you're working with a hammer and forge and hot metal? They've taken to calling me Burly Birdbeard. Used to have a beard down to my belt. Well, shorter is safer. Long as you keep a bucket of water handy, there's nothing to worry about.
I wonder how your skills stand up against the smiths of Erebor.
I'm no braggart, but I'll put my skills up against any smith, dwarf, elf, or man. You may think I don't know much, being set apart from others of my craft. But I'll tell you a little secret. My grandsires go back all the way to the smiths that worked alongside the great elven smith, Celebrimbor himself. In the days of ancient Erigion, there was a great friendship between elves and dwarves. We've passed down skills from forgotten times. I know runes of power and other secrets that give my weapons and armor a hidden strength you'll not find elsewhere. You won't complain about my work.
Nobody shapes stone like a dwarf. It's too bad we can't stay for a while. It's been too long since I enjoyed real dwarven hospitality.
Mirkwood is a place I prefer to fly over, not into, but we are ready to go.
If this fellow Radagast can tell us where to find Urgost, we'll have to face him next. Have you ever gone up against a dragon?
No, That is a risk I have gladly avoided. One does not willingly seek out a dragon unless there is no choice.
You're close friends with this wizard, Radagast, I take it.
The Brown Wizard has been a close friend of the Eagles since he first came to Middle-earth and settled into the forest that is now called Mirkwood, even before it came to have that dark name. That was long before I was born, but I have visited with him many times in his home at Rosgobel when I would bring him news from afar. But I have not seen him since he abandoned Rosgobel.
What could drive a wizard from his own home?
He was gone from his home before I could ask, but there has been a growing threat and darkness in the south of Mirkwood. I believe Rosgobel is no longer safe, even for a wizard. But fear not. I know Radagast's favored places in the north of Mirkwood. We will find him, or I will bring you to a place you are likely to find him at the very least.
If this fellow Radagast...
No. That is a risk I have gladly avoided.
You're afraid of dragons?
Only a fool would not fear a dragon. If Urgost has survived this long, he must be full of the guile and cunning of his kind, abominations that they are. And this will make him even more dangerous. But that changes nothing. If we must prevent his alliance with Agandar, then fear must be set aside and the dragon found. We should follow Gorin's advice and seek Urgost's whereabouts from Radagast.
It's a fine thing your friends have done, offering to help us and all. But do you think they really know what they've gotten themselves into? What can you tell me about them?
Armanel is a seasoned warrior. He knows full well what he faces, and accepts it gladly. Baron Thor is young, and eager to prove himself. But he has deep courage, and few can match his swiftness on the wing. But you need not take my word. Ask them yourself. They will gladly speak with you if you so desire.
I worry about what's happening in Erebor. Perhaps I should be at home, defending my people, rather than chasing after dragons.
Once before, the Lonely Mountain fell before the might of a dragon. Consider what could happen should Agandar win the allegiance of Urgost. Would you have Erebor become a dragon's den a second time? We are the only hope for the North, and we must do whatever is required of us to bring down Agandar. Only then will your home and our areas be safe.
Aye, you speak the truth, Belleron. We're in this to the end, and I'm proud to be standing at your side.
You have but to say the word, and we will press on.
We'll be leaving soon.
We will be ready.
We meet again. You were right. The Bree folk bought up every weapon I had to sell. It's a pity I couldn't have made it back sooner, though.
Eh? Why's that? Did something happen here?
You haven't heard? A gang of brigands attacked the town. Some townsfolk were killed fighting them off. If they'd been better armed, it might have saved their lives.
I hope they've learned a lesson from all this. Ignoring problems won't make them go away.
You can't blame them for hoping trouble would pass them by. But my folk have a saying. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Aye, you've got the right of it. Trust a dwarf when it comes to common sense. Goodbye, and good luck. Oh, if these folk knew the danger that threatens them, they'd never find the courage to leave their houses.
You've returned. I'm happy to see you safe.
Something's wrong, that's plain. What happened, lass?
I thought maybe you had heard. The townsfolk talk of little else now. A gang of wicked men attacked Bree. We fought them off, but 5 of our people were killed. My Rowley was one of them.
Oh, that's hard to bear. He was a good man.
When the attack came, Rowley fought them. I'm told he was very brave.
I'm sure of it. He had a lot to fight for.
Thank you for saying so. It's comforting to hear.
My heart goes out to you. Be well, lass.
Oh, it's you. You were right about that stranger from the south. He was no good.
Tell me what happened.
A whole gang of ruffians attacked the town. That southerner was one of them. They killed some folk. Killed them dead. Good people I've known all my life.
What became of the southerner?
He won't bother anyone again. I made sure of that myself.
You were one of those that fought them then?
I was. The whole town banded together to drive them out. I just wish I could have done more.
That's quite a change from the first time we met.
I was a fool to listen to that kind of talk. I wanted to get back at some people in this town. Blame them for my problems, I guess.
What will you do now?
I'm part of the new town watch, and I'm doing a few things to help out the widows and orphans left behind by the fight. I feel like I owe them.
Sounds like you're doing just fine then. Glad to hear it.
Oh, it's you. You were right about...
I'll be on my way. Who could live in a town where it's always raining? It's depressing.
Back again. What can I do for you?
Farewell, Smith.
Hello. Pardon me if I seem glum, but troubled times have come to Bree. Suddenly selling old weapons has become a very grim business. Still, I may have something here that will be of use to you.
So, you're back. I hope you aren't intending to make trouble. You'll find that everyone's keeping a careful eye on strangers now.
What happened here?
We've had trouble right here in Bree. Outsiders attacked the town. Some of our own folk joined in with them. There was a real set-to in the streets and we drove them out, but we lost some good men.
What are you facing?
The woods nearby are filled with robbers and cutthroats, and wolves have taken to roaming our fields at night. I've heard rumors of worse things lurking out there as well.
Maybe you've come to appreciate the Rangers a bit more now, huh?
I'm told that the Rangers have all gone off somewhere. It's plain to everyone now how much they did to keep us safe. This town will be a lot more welcoming to rangers if ever they come back.
Let's hope they return.
Halbarad has gone off to the south with as many of our people as he could gather. War is brewing, and Aragorn has need of his kinsmen.
I'll be on my way.
Welcome. I did not think to see you here again. You've missed Halbarad. He's gone away to the south, and many of the Dunedain have gone with him. But if you are in need of supplies, I may...
Halbarad has gone? Where did he go?
Word came to us through the elves of Rivendell that Aragorn was in need of his kinsmen. Seems bloody war has come to Gondor. The sons of Elrond accompanied them. Ah, to be a younger man.
You may have missed the war in Gondor, but there are still battles to be fought here in the north.
For you, perhaps. But I have seen too many winters to ride to war now. Yet, if our hope should fail, I'm still likely to die with a sword in my hand. For my part, I would not mind. But for the sake of those who are still young, I hope it will not be so.
Wise words. I share that hope.
No one longs for peace more than the warrior, it seems. But I fear there are still great trials ahead of you. You must be prepared. Take a look at the stores I have on hand.
Have you heard? Halbarad has led a company of Dunedain south to aid Aragorn in the war. If only I would have been allowed to join them. Too young, they said.
You may not have ridden off to war, but there's trouble all across Middle-earth. War might soon come to you.
I fear you may be right about that. The best we can do is face our doom bravely, wherever it may overtake us.
Aye, and I've no doubt you will, should it come to that. Good luck to you, Eradan.
Most of our people have gone south to aid in the war. How many will return, I wonder?
It's good to see you. What news do you bring?
It seems I'll be facing a dragon soon. A beast called Urgost. I'd welcome any advice.
A dragon? What madness drives you to the lair of such a deadly creature?
Agendaur's out to win the dragon over to his side. We can't let that happen.
How the three of you could hope to kill a dragon is beyond me. I know of only one person who bandied words with a dragon and lived to tell of it, and that would be Bilbo. I reckon he's the one to be giving you advice. My advice would be to stay well away.
Here's good news for a change. My friends and I went looking for Agendaur and Gundabad, and instead, we found a lost group of Longbeards, our kin.
What? Long-lost kin in the Grey Mountains? How can that be? How did they escape the scourge of the dragons when all others were destroyed or fled?
They have a hidden refuge called Nordenbad. It's magnificent.
By my beard, when all this trouble is finished, you must show me the way there. I would meet these distant kinsmen and welcome them to trade with Erebor.
They're eager for some contact with the rest of the world, especially their kin. But it'll take some doing before it's safe to travel to Nordenbad. So it's goodbye for now.
Those who venture into the wild must be well prepared. Examine the goods Imladris has to offer.
Well met again, Farin. Have you news for me?
Your pardon, lady. I haven't laid my hands on any mithril yet.
Please, do not trouble yourself if other matters demand your attention. Yet if you could find this mithril, you would have my deepest gratitude.
Welcome back, Farin. I saw you arrive, and I must say, it made for a fine sight. We have something in common now, my friend. We are among the few who can claim to have ridden on the back of an eagle, although I'm sure you enjoyed your journey more than I. Truthfully, I found the whole experience rather terrifying.
Your friends among my kinfolk have often told stories of your adventures with the eagles, but I'd like to hear it from you.
Oh, well, it's a long story, really. There we were, 13 dwarves, 1 wizard, and 1 rather frightened hobbit, perched in the treetops, trying to hide from an army of wolves and goblins. They sniffed us out soon enough and set fire to the trees. It would have been the end of us all right there, had the King of the Eagles not led his people to our rescue. I was grateful to be saved, of course, but to this day I still feel a bit dizzy whenever I think about that wild flight.
Oh, I liked flying. The open air, the rush of the wind in my beard. Glorious. I can hardly wait for the next time.
I suppose that shouldn't surprise me, coming from one brave enough to walk into a foul place like Mount Gundabad. Oh yes, I've heard all about how you brought the roof down on those nasty goblins. Everyone in Rivendell is talking about it. I've had the misfortune of wandering into goblin caves before, so I know how truly frightening they can be.
You invaded an orc lair?
Oh, no. Invaded is certainly not the right word. More like stumbled into or even blundered upon. You know, someone should be setting down this story of yours. It's certainly worthy of being remembered. I do have my own book to finish, but perhaps when that's done. Maybe you should give me an account of your adventures. I'll take notes, and one day I can write your story. What do you say to that?
Bilbo Baggins writing my story? That would be an honor.
Very well, then. Why don't you start at the beginning?
I suppose it all started that day at the Sarn Ford. There we were. And, in the nick of time, our eagle friends swooped in and lifted us to safety, just as the whole mountainside came crashing down.
Outstanding! What a riveting tale! There is enough there to fill a volume or two already. I just hope I managed to get it all straight. I tried to take good notes. You really must come back later to let me know how it's progressing.
If I get the chance, I'll be sure to do that. Now I'd best be on my way. Farewell, Bilbo.
So you're going to Mirkwood in order to find a dragon. It seems frighteningly familiar somehow. I do hope you will be careful. Dragons are serious business.
Of course, how could I forget? You've dealt with a dragon before.
Why, yes, I suppose there are not too many people who've come face to face with a dragon and lived to tell of it.
Do you have any advice for me?
Advice? First I'd say stealing from them is generally a bad idea. I'd avoid that if you can. Secondly, should you find yourself in a pinch, try flattery.
What's that? Flattery?
Yes, strange as it may seem, I was rather complimentary when I spoke with old Smaug and found he took to flattery as readily as my niece Angelica. Yes, vain creatures, the both of them. I really hope you'll come back later and fill me in on how your adventures are progressing.
If I get the chance, I'll be sure to do that. Now I'd best be on my way. Farewell, Bilbo.
Welcome, my friend. You are to be congratulated on what you accomplished at Mount Gundabad. Thanks to you and the warriors of Nordenbad, there are now fewer orcs to menace the north. From what you have told me, it is apparent the folk of Nordenbad are both courageous and resourceful. They are welcome allies in our struggle against Agendaur.
They believe Agendaur may be trying to gain the aid of a dragon called Urgost.
A dragon? That is ill news. Such a weapon would give Agendaur an overwhelming advantage.
We've already decided to get rid of Urgost, but we have no idea where to find him. My long-lost kinsman Nordri suggested we consult with the wizard Radagast.
Your courage is commendable, but I do not believe you fully comprehend the danger. This dragon may prove a foe too great for even you and all your companions to overcome.
That may well be, but we think it's better to go looking for the dragon on our own terms, instead of waiting for him to come after us. With a little luck, we might take him by surprise.
There is truth in what you say. We should do all we can to deny Agendaur this living weapon.
Do you have any idea where Urgos might be found?
Sadly, I do not. I have long feared there were still dragons lurking in the Grey Mountains, but I have no knowledge of this creature Urgos. Radagast may indeed be our best hope of locating him. The Brown Wizard is adept at gathering information.
Then it looks like we have to head for Mirkwood.
Which means your quest will be fraught with peril long before you locate the dragon, for Mirkwood is a dark and dangerous place.
But what about Frodo? Maybe we'd be better off doing something to help him on his quest.
That die is cast. We must abide the consequences, for good or ill. There is nothing more we here can do but to look to our own defense.
I'm not too happy about traveling to Mirkwood. Maybe you can tell me something about it.
Mirkwood lies east over the Misty Mountains. It is the greatest woodland in all of Middle-earth, and it was known as Greenwood the Great in fairer days. But the shadow of Sauron has fallen over the forest, and with each passing year it grows darker and more perilous. It is the haunt of orcs and spiders, and other creatures darker still. Any who venture there will need to keep their wits and their weapons about them.
We won't let that keep us from finding Radagast.
My mind is still uneasy about this plan, but it is said that fortune often favors the bold, who may say what will befall. Know that the blessings of all the folk of Imladris will go with you.